All righty, make some noise if you're getting ready for happy hour. Woo, woo. I know it's hot in here. You guys are excited to get some Pacificos, get the drinks flowing, but we got our last panel here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jack Mitrani, former professional snowboarder, used to compete in the X Games, and they must have got sick of me not winning any medals because they decided to hand me the microphone instead. So I've been hosting for the last 8 years. Couldn't be more grateful. To my left, grew up idolizing this human being right here, professional skateboarder. If you haven't seen In Bloom, go watch it, and you will see Mikey Taylor, who is now also a Thousand Oaks council member. How's it going, Mikey?
It's going good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And then the epitome of the city of Ventura. If you've been here, you know her name. Marlyss Auster. Make some noise for Marlyss. Come on, folks. Let's go. We're getting this party started. And then, of course, VP Marketing, Content, and Communications from LA Sports Commission. This gentleman was also head of content and digital at X Games. And the reason that I am with X Games is thanks to Mr. Jason Krutzsch. So round of applause. Jason Krutzsch, we are not worthy. Thank you all so much for joining. This panel talks about the impact of events like the X Games on cities and communities. For example, X Games in Ventura. So first question for Marlyss. How did this beautiful little city of Ventura land the biggest action sports event?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll start by Justin was actually on the first site visit back in 2019. So he was part of that. And he had gone to the Vans Warped Tour. He's got family that lives nearby. And as everything works in X Games within the industry and your teams and so forth, everybody just starts connecting. And they start talking about ideas of what could happen. And because the DNA of our town is skate, surf, we're kind of like the OG San Diego. You don't need reservations. You can basically go anywhere in flip-flops. You see skaters everywhere. It felt right. So everything we did was, this feels right. How do we take the next small step? It wasn't, let's go big. It's like, we're a small town. I think we can do this. Let's keep dreaming. And it was a long journey, but one we have celebrated. And I hope that when you all go out into town, you see the staff wearing shirts welcoming you, you see floor decals, you see window decals, you see signs everywhere. Everybody is pumped. You guys are megastars, and we recognize it, and we so appreciate that you picked us.
Well, we're so grateful. I'm from Vermont, and I'm not going to lie, it is so nice to get off that plane in Southern California and see the ocean. I couldn't think of a better place for it. Jason, how have action sports events like the X Games demonstrated their ability to attract hard-to-reach demographics?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the beauties of an event like this. It just, a little closer.
There you
Thanks. Thanks, Jack, for the great introduction, too.
Love you, brother.
Events like the X Games, they just bring in such, I mean, one, they cover so many different sports and they bring in so many different cultures all to one location. I think the reason, why way back in, 2015, 2016, when we were like, hey, Jack, you want to come be the face of the X Games? We knew that we had to have a presence on the internet. And Jack, you hand him a phone, he makes gold. And I think that's really what these events give you the ability to do, bring that hard to reach community from the internet to a personal location somewhere like Ventura to create this really magical weekend of experiences.
And what does success look like after a weekend of magical experiences? What does success look like following the event? Like, how do you then, continue to capture this hard to reach demographic or magic that comes with an event like X Games?
Oh, this is for me.
Anyone?
Oh, I was waiting for you. Okay. I think the way I look at cities and an event like this, it's almost like looking at a brand or a business, right? You have your content that's meant to go wide and far, right? And this is going to introduce you to a new audience. And then that audience is going to see you. You're going to have your funnel in place. You get their information. You retarget them. Now you potentially have a consumer, right? This is basically that in real life for a city, right? The city, a big part of a city, if you're looking at it as a business, is the local economy, right? This is your retail, your coffee shops, your dinner. This is now introducing, how many people are going to be here over the weekend? 50,000 total?
Maybe a little more.
So let's call it 15 just for, that's what, 16,000
75,000?
people a day,
Yeah.
for the next 3 days. That's the potential to take a percentage of them and go look around the city. And then they get to be introduced to Pete's Coffee or Rum Fish or Toppers or parts of our total community that bring money into it, that then create jobs, that then benefit the whole community. So just think of it as this is our moment of going viral to capture a new audience to show them the city.
Very well said. That is genius. How have you taken like everything that you learned from skateboarding, growing up as a professional skateboarder, into politics? And first, did you ever think as a professional skateboarder that you end up a politician, Mikey Taylor?
So I'll tell this story real quick. There's these two comedians, Chad and JT Kroger.
Love
right?
them.
And they go to city council throughout the state
Yep.
and they come up with some like theme and pitch.
More
Right?
yachts.
These two guys roll into our city council. No one in our room knows who they are except for me. And I see them like, oh my gosh, I don't believe it, right? They come in and pitch this idea of turning the whole entire city of Thousand Oaks into marble, right? The video goes ultra viral. It's got like 10, 11 million views, right? Anyway, I never thought I'd be involved in politics. Like growing up as a skater, we don't really like politicians. It was very counterculture and counter success and counter authority in the 90s, right? But when I started skating and started traveling, I was one of the few that stayed in my hometown. I stayed in Thousand Oaks where everybody else moved to LA because I loved it there. And then as I got older and I got married and started having kids, I wanted to make sure that my kids and all the kids throughout our community still got to enjoy the place that I loved, that I never wanted to leave. And so I tried to find a way to get involved, and I felt like city council complemented what I'm currently doing. And I thought I could add something new to offer so that the next generation hopefully will stay as opposed to taking off in their 20s to go down south.
Love that. That's amazing. And if you don't follow Mikey Taylor on Instagram, you definitely should because he has all heaps of knowledge and lessons, and I appreciate all of that. This question is for everyone. What impact does access to an event like X Games have on the next generation?
Well, I can tell you I'm seeing a lot more kids skate around town.
That's for sure.
I really get so excited when I'm seeing 2 and 3-year-olds jump on little boards with their fathers and mothers skating around town. And that's happening more and more around here. I also know that our community and communities around us, I think have gotten friendlier towards BMX riders and the moto crew. And like, they understand this is a family event instead of maybe some stigma that they had in their head about skaters or this industry as a whole. I never had that. Many of us didn't, but there is a segment that does. And I think that what's happened is because you all have come into our community and embraced our community as much as we've embraced you, that's changing and shifting the mindset, which ultimately changes the culture of how we accept and promote and inspire others to challenge themselves, jump on that board, get in the water, go to the mountain, and be outdoors and celebrate the outdoors and be free-spirited because that's truly the essence of being happy.
I couldn't agree more.
Just hearing you say that, how much it's changed. I was in Los Angeles last Friday at the Los Angeles City Council with Paul Rodriguez, and the city of Los Angeles officially created Paul Rodriguez Day.
Wow.
From here on forward. That just shows like how far skateboarding's come in the kind of the public eye. I would say when you're a kid, you always have those moments that draw you into what feels like a purpose or a passion, right? I remember when Eric Costin and Rick Howard and Mike Carroll came to do a girl demo at Valsurf, changed everything for me. And then that led to a 14-year professional career, and everyone that I was able to meet and travel changed my life, right? That's the opportunity that this presents for the next youth when they get to see, I mean, pick the skater, Nyjah or little Midler, pick the array. That's a new opportunity for somebody to dive in and want to, pursue this. It's awesome for that.
Arisa, 11 years old.
it's
Yeah, I think that's like the great thing is this is the legacy of what these events bring to communities. I mean, Mikey talked a little bit about the economic impact initially. Now we're talking about the social impact. I mean, these young kids growing up in these communities are all up and down Southern California get to be exposed to the world's best athletes on this stage. Go home at night, watch the highlights on TV, see it on the internet and be like, that's my backyard. And I think now they see that there's a possibility there. This is a path. If I want to be involved in this, if I work hard, I can actually achieve these things. And I feel like I have similar experiences, not from being a professional skater as Mikey, but growing up in Southern California and just seeing some of the bigger names of the time come through demos at the local shops in town and just left even more inspired by that. And I think that's, and same with, on the winter front was part of that project for a long time. And, all the kids in Aspen, Colorado or the Roaring Fork Valley, they go to Buttermilk Mountain and they see so much potential. And then that gives them that, fuel and drive to keep competing. And Jack, I'm sure you have similar experiences from the Vermont snowboard scene and just being exposed to it.
Perhaps.
Like helps you really, see the possibilities.
I was 8 years old when I went to my first X Games. It was Mount Snow, and my friend's dad was competing in a snowmobile race. And I was like, I want to go. Like, I just started snowboarding. I'm like, I just want to go and see it. And I'll never forget, I got this like little bell that I could ring the whole time. And I just saw everyone, like doing tricks in the half pipe and being around that energy so young. And that changed my life forever, like 100% from that event at X Games when I was 8 years old. I did not stop dreaming about going to the X Games, competing in the X Games and being there. And so while I'm here, I'm looking around at kids and I'm like, wow, that could have been me, like 40 years ago. No, I don't want to outdate myself here, but yeah, like 20 years ago. So yeah, so much goes on. So many people are involved in these events. I'd love to talk about what do you think is one of the most impactful things that needs to be at an event to make such an impact? Like I know at like the Super Bowl, Jason, for example, you had like the fan zone. Like, are there different components of events that are so important to actually create this type of impact?
Yeah, I think it probably, we can talk about this event, but in general, I think it starts with access. Like you really need to figure out touch points for every aspect of the community. And so I think that starts at the youth level, the local business level, that starts at, hiring local individuals to be part of these events. So that economic benefit really goes back into the community. But then also, they just still invested in it. I think that's so like finding access points, especially at like stadium events where there's capacities, only so many people get inside that building, especially in LA, SoFi Stadium, you max that thing out at 72,000. It's like 10 million people live in the market. So how do you keep everybody else engaged? And I think those are those community programs and ways to engage the local youth, engage the local businesses, engage the local workforce to show them there's paths to be involved in this. And they can be involved in these events much farther in advance than when the actual weekend takes place. Once the weekend happens, it's come celebrate, come be part of this, come show your civic pride and, put our best representation for all the people that are in town visiting for this event.
That's amazing. Marlyss, is there any stories that you can share with us from just being here either before or after the X Games with the locals that you've talked to, or just anything that you've heard from local business owners or the hotels? Like, I would love to just hear, more about the local buzz, so to speak.
There's a lot of local buzz. Last year, there was a ton around, we're a small town. Oh my gosh, there's going to be so much traffic. How's everybody going to get here? This is a global event. Can we handle this? And we put a plan in place and we all worked the plan. Our team worked the plan. We had dignitaries that came. We didn't give anybody parking passes. Nobody got any VIP treatment there. Everybody was charged to work the plan. And so what happened is because we engaged so many people around town, not only around transportation, but the drone show that we did, we offered many, many things to the community to participate, even if they weren't going to come inside the venue, that there was a way that they could celebrate so that when they saw it on TV, they were like, oh my gosh, that's my hometown. Like that, I live there. That's amazing. So the hometown pride just went off the charts. It truly did. And the drone show last year, when Ventura Highway came on and those drones took flight, the entire community was singing, and it literally brought me to tears. It was remarkable. And I will tell you, those people that were naysayers and yelling at me, I had fingers wagging in my face, no doubt, about traffic and transportation. I got flowers sent to the office by strangers. I got cards by people that just said, you don't know, but I'm now a loyal fan and resident. I was one of those naysayers that said we could not handle this, and we did. So those moments are the moments that are the most meaningful to me, that we're making a flip and doing a switch, and then just the feeling. It's great to see something on TV and to feel it and to get the merchandise, but when you go out and you see records being broken and you feel the pulse thickening and you're part of that, that's a memory that's forever. And you can't buy that in a bottle. You have to feel it. And so I'm just really grateful that so many people are here to have that experience.
Can we get a round of applause for that? Every town needs a Marlyss. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Will you host the X Games for me, please? Here. You are so great. And I really feel like X Games and the town of Ventura are so lucky to have someone like you to fight those, micro challenges or macro challenges with a huge heart and smile on your face. So thank you. Whew. Give me the chills there.
you.
Mikey, haven't heard from you in a minute. How are you? Doing good?
Doing well.
How's life in Thousand Oaks? Are you bringing any action sports types of events to Thousand Oaks? Or just golf?
I think you guys signed a 5-year deal, so we're out of the running for now. No, Thousand Oaks is we're more of a quiet small town, right? Ventura is definitely, there's more density here. There's an opportunity to attract a larger size audience than we have, right? So I'm not sure an event like this would work in Thousand Oaks, but I mean, our city will benefit from this as well. It's like you're passing Westlake, Thousand Oaks, and Newbury Park, which is my total area. There's everything you need in that area as well. So I mean, we'll benefit from our economy just through the amount of traffic that are coming up.
Wow.
But no events scheduled now.
No events. Okay, that's all good. Have you guys noticed any change pre-pandemic to post-pandemic with the impact of events? For example, was it easier to sell out events before the pandemic versus after? Like, has strategies needed to be changed after because people are a little bit more worried? Or now that we're a couple years out of it, does it seem like the same old thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious what you guys think. I think what I saw initially was there was this huge demand, like immediately. So call it 22, 23. Like there was definitely this kind of like heightened, like, let's get together, let's be part of this, let's have these experiences. I think that's still pretty true. Like, I mean, seeing the event here last year, what's going to shake out this weekend, I think it's going to be a pretty strong buzz, and certainly what it sounds like from the local community perspective already. So I certainly still think we're riding that high if I had to, just evaluate it from my perspective.
I think the overall event space, I think, has the demand spiked just with the sheer fact that we couldn't go out and beat people, right? But something actually pretty big happened in Ventura, and I want to get your perspective on this as I say it. Ventura was always kind of a sleepy, blue collar, not a lot of youth, actually not a lot happening when you compare Ventura to any of the coastal states below us, or coastal cities below us, right? Two things happened that were significant for Ventura. One, they started building out a tech scene in Santa Barbara. So you started having more youth come up. Santa Barbara, at least from a price or a cost of living, significantly high. So you had now a new age demographic moving into Ventura. And then when we went through the pandemic, we saw a lot of shift out of LA up to here. And now all of a sudden, when you go out to Ventura, it feels like the average age demographic has dropped by like 15 years.
Wow.
There's a new kind of lifeblood that's happening in this area, which I think actually was perfectly timed with the X Games coming in. I'm not sure it would have had the same impact if the X Games would have came here 6 years ago. So I think this is a great timing for it.
I totally agree. I mean, I've got a 23-year-old son that just graduated from UCSB, and he likes coming here. you know, because we're more exciting now. We kind of got a little hip during COVID because we embraced the outdoors. We were rated #1 in weather. Like, we have epic weather, and we're outdoorsy people. We've got the Channel Islands National Park right there, biking paths, hiking. Like, everybody's got a dog here. Like, we're just those type of people. And that was really embraced during COVID. And so they kind of found us and were like, all right, I think I found a little cool place to hang out. A lot of people moved here because they could work remote. And it's great because now we're seeing a younger generation, which means we're going to see more children, which means we're going to have just more energy and laughter around. And that's always good.
I like to go on that we were here in 2019, looking at it, because I think we were seeing that way. We were seeing the potential, like a seaside opportunity, getting back to the beach. And now just, you know, again, I've been a little removed from it at this point, but just seeing it all come together is pretty special, because I think we circled this as one of those locations that'd be great to get the brand back to the West Coast and do something near the beach. Like, where are we going to do that? And I think Ventura presented a really awesome opportunity for that.
Yeah, I just going back to the impact. I was walking here today from the hotel and I saw like a little, photo activation and read something about the local school building some of the ramps for the street course. Is that true?
Yes, we went to a local wood shop. I mean, it was like just standing around with the team. Hey, it'd be cool if the wood shop team could make a ramp. Let's call and ask them. So we did, and they had 4 high school seniors that skate. They designed it, they built it, they painted it. It's going to be at Skate Jam tonight at California and Main Street. They're bringing it inside. But there's also photo booths that we had a local woodworker make, local artist paint. So local.
Yep.
Feels good.
I love that. All right. Well, yeah, Jason?
No, I was going to say, I think those are the amazing stories to tell. It's just like how the local community is getting behind it. I think that's like we're
Living
talking
proof.
about. That's the impact of these events. That's the legacy of these events, is they'll have those stories that's on their resume. They're part of this project, and they'll forever be able to take that with them. And I think that's the stuff that keeps giving much, farther after the event's left.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, we got 3 minutes before we set you free to happy hour. So my last question is, talking about impact, how has X Games impacted you individually as a person? It could be one word too. You don't have to go on if you don't want, but started with Mikey Taylor. How has X Games impacted you, Mikey?
So I grew up in the era of skateboarding where you didn't really skate contests. It was all street skating.
Yep.
And X Games was kind of like the first contest to come around where you started seeing like street skaters really like entering that stage. You had Paul Rodriguez, you had Sheckler, you had, people of my generation doing it. And I honestly thought I would go through my entire skate career having never skated one contest.
Oh.
And then I ended up skating the X Games like 3 years. I think the best I ever did was like 6th place, and I was like beyond myself. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. I mean, I did the X Games when they started traveling around Europe. We did the Brazil stop. We did the Spain stop. So, I mean, it was cool. For somebody who like got into skateboarding for the pure art and kind of culture aspect, who never got in for the contest setting, to be able to experience that was, it was super cool.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Love it.
I think I just have more cool friends that are part of X Games.
Let's go. Yes. Likewise.
Yeah, I'd just say opportunity. I started working on the brand as an intern a week after I graduated college, and did it for the next 13 years of my life, and got to travel around the globe and meet amazing people and sit here because of it. So yeah, means a lot, I guess.
Well, thank you so much. Round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much to the diehards who have stuck it out to the end. Let's get some happy hour. That's X Games Forum. Woo!
Quick.
Oh, my line.
Real quick.
DJ's here.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for doing this. Thanks everyone here for coming out today. And it's a really important day. This hasn't been done in person in well over a decade. I know there was one where the industry got together during the pandemic, but we need to all ride together. So we appreciate you giving us this. We now have the opportunity. Thank you with Group Y and Mark Sperling and his team. Let's give a round of applause for them. Woo! Partnering with their organization to make this happen has been exceptional. So thank you for that. And with that, we will close out and hope to see you all around this weekend. Let's go celebrate.